Hey there my foodies, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the foodie family. I'm going to be making some nice and delicious cassava ball, and to go along with this I have some fresh mango sour that I already made. I have a link for that in my description box below as to how I make my mango sour, and I'm going to also be serving this with some achar. I don't have a link to the achar, but you can use your favorite achar that you like to use. If you've never tried achar with cassava ball before, give it a try. Trust me, you never know, you might like it. So with all that being said, let's get right into the video and I show you guys how I make my recipe for my cassava ball. Today I went ahead and peeled about 2 pounds of cassava. I chopped and I deveined it so that when I'm going to mash it, I don't need to take the veins out while I'm mashing it. So let's put this in the water and start boiling it. So about my cassava, I have some water heating up here. I'm just going to go ahead and add some salt. And I'll go in with my cassava pieces. I'll just give this a stir to get that salt worked in. I'll allow this to come up to a boil until tender. It usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes. It just depends on the cassava. Each one is very different when you buy them, but I will come back and show you what the texture should be looking like when it's done. So I'll see you then. My cassava is done boiling. I'll show you a piece as to what the texture should be looking like. So you see how the cassava is no longer white, it's like transparent. That's a good indication that it's almost done. And my knife passes right through it very easily. If you go softer than this, you're gonna have a mushy cassava ball and it probably won't hold its shape. All right, my cassava is nice and drained. I'll just go in with a potato masher and completely mash everything as smooth as I can. And I want to do this step when the cassava is nice and hot because it makes it easier for mashing. My cassava is nice and fully mashed now. I'll let this cool down because what I like to do, I like to go in with my hands and mix my seasoning in, and it's a little too hot right now. It's going to burn me. So I'll just allow it to cool down for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then it should be cool enough for me to go in and mix my seasoning. Okay, my cassava is nice and cool down to where I can actually touch it and go in and use my hands. I'm just gonna spread it out and I'm gonna go in with some fresh shallot that I picked from the garden. I like to add cut up wiri peppers to mine. Instead of boiling the peppers with the cassava, I feel like the flavors comes through a whole lot better when I add it fresh like this. If you're gonna be making this for kids, you should probably skip this step if they don't like spicy food. Additionally to this, I will go in with some garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of adobo, some black pepper, some sugarcane Ajee. This is optional. If you guys don't like to use Ajee, feel free to leave it out. Some roasted ground geera and some salt. A little bit of sugar to balance all that salt. I'll go in here and mash everything with my hand as if I'm kneading a dough so that I can get it nice and evenly worked in. I usually don't measure these seasonings when I add it here. I average it based on what I like my cassava ball to taste. So I'm not going to be listing any specific measurements for this. If you guys have never tried any of the seasonings that I've just added here, give it a try to see if you like it. If there's anything that you don't like to put inside your cassava ball whilst you're making it, feel free to omit it. But this is just the way that I like to season mine, and it always tastes really well. So I'm just going in here, giving it a good mash. And if by chance you guys boiled your cassava and it's too soft, when you're at this stage, after seasoning it the way that you like to do it, you can put this in the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes. And what the fridge will do, it'll suck out any additional moisture that is not supposed to be in there, and it'll firm it up a little better for when you need to roll it out. All right, I have this nice and worked in now. I gave it a taste. I don't need to add anything else to it based on how we like ours to taste. Definitely feel free to give yours a taste. If there's something more that you want to add, feel free to go in and add it. But I will say, go in with small amounts and then you can always increase whatever you would have added, because once it's in, it can't come out. I'll give my hands a wash and we'll start rolling these out and I'll show you how I prep mine for frying. This is how I go about rolling mine out for frying. I will take some, roll it into a little ball. I'll put some of food coloring on top of it. This is optional. I like to do it because it gives a beautiful color when it's gonna fry. And then I just roll it in some flour that I have here. So to begin rolling out the little balls, I just like to put a little bit of flour on my hand. I'll go in and take about this much. You can make yours whatever size you like. Give it a nice roll, just like this. And I just go in with my finger and tap the food coloring all around it, because I don't want to put this and dunk it into this liquid. You're going to alter the texture. And yes, this food coloring does temporarily stay in your hand, but it comes out after you give it a wash. I give it a roll in the flour, dusting off any excess. And I have a clean plate here. I just put it down and that's it. I finished rolling out my cassava balls. I got about 15 of them. My oil is nice and hot. Let's start frying these up. My oil is nice and hot. In order for this to fry really well without loosening up, you need to have your oil nice and hot. So as soon as it goes in, it starts frying. So I'll just put my first one in. I'm not gonna overcrowd the pan. I'm just gonna add about 5 at a time. That's about 5 there. I'm not gonna touch this. I'll let it fry on that one side for about a minute to 2, and then I'll flip it over and let it fry on the other side. I don't wanna touch this too much because I don't wanna try to break it up. It shouldn't break up, but I don't wanna take the risk. This does not take very long to fry. I'll finish them up and I'll show you what it's looking like when it's time to come out of the oil. It's been a few minutes since these have been frying. They're all done. I'll show you what they're looking like out of the oil. I just have a clean plate with some tissue to drain off any excess oil at the side here. I'll continue to fry the rest up. Okay, my foodies, this is what my cassava ball is looking like. Here I have my fresh mango sour. I have some achar here. If you guys have never tried this with achar, give it a try. You never know, you might like it. I'll just go in and break into one so you can see what it's looking like on the inside. Look how nice this fried up. Look at all that pieces of shallot and all that seasoning that we would have added. Look at that. Look how nice and soft the cassava boiled up. I was lucky to get good cassavas today because you guys know how that show goes, right? I'll just go in, give it a nice dip in the sour. Look at that. Who wants a nice bite of this? Thank you guys for watching today. Thank you for always supporting my channel. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at I'mAFoodieGirl_94. If you guys like this video, do hit that thumbs up button at the bottom. It really helps my channel out. And if you haven't subscribed as yet, do subscribe to my channel for more delicious recipes. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.